The sting exploded across my face before I even registered the motion. 1 second I was standing my ground in the middle of that gleaming marble foyer. The next I was sprawled on the cold floor, copper flooding my mouth as blood welled from my split lip. Victor Hargrove loomed over me, chest heaving, his designer suit still perfectly pressed except for the slight disarray at his collar. His gray eyes burned with pure fury. "You have no idea who you're dealing with," he hissed. I tasted salt and iron. My cheek throbbed in time with my racing heart. Connor dropped beside me instantly, his hands gentle but trembling as he helped me sit up. "Dad, what the hell?" His voice cracked with disbelief and rage. Victor didn't back down. "She needs to learn her place in this family. Both of you do." The words landed heavier than the slap. I pushed myself to my feet, refusing to let the dizziness win, refusing to let him see me crumble. Connor's arm stayed around my waist as we walked out of that Evergreen Hills mansion for what I thought was the last time. The night air hit my swollen face like ice. We drove home in heavy silence, the city lights of the Seattle suburbs blurring past the windows. My name is Amelia Thompson, Mia to friends and the few people who actually saw me. At 28, I had fought my way from a solid middle-class upbringing in Tacoma into a respected forensic accounting role at a mid-sized firm downtown. Numbers didn't lie. They revealed truths people tried to bury. That's what made me good at my job. That's what made Victor hate me from the start. Connor and I met 2 years earlier at a little coffee shop near the waterfront. He spilled his espresso across my quarterly reports while apologizing profusely. That warm laugh of his cutting through my initial annoyance. He was a systems engineer with big ideas and no patience for corporate games. I fell for the way he saw the world, as something to build, not conquer. The first time he brought me to the Hargrove estate, I wore the nicest dress I could afford, a simple navy sheath from a department store I'd saved months for. Victor sat at the head of the long walnut table like a king on his throne, Rolex glinting under the chandelier. Eleanor, his second wife, offered that practiced smile that never reached her eyes. Brooke, Victor's 17-year-old daughter from his first marriage, barely glanced up from her phone, her sharp features and expensive clothes screaming old money. "So you're in finance?" Victor's question carried a pause that dripped contempt. "Not law, not medicine. Forensic accounting," I answered steadily. "I specialize in tracing hidden assets during mergers and high-stakes litigation." Eleanor murmured something about how practical that sounded while adjusting her diamond tennis bracelet. Brooke's cold gray eyes, exactly like her father's, dismissed me in an instant. Over the following months, the subtle cuts deepened. Victor mocked my state school background versus his Ivy League pedigree. He questioned my parents' modest teaching and bookkeeping careers. At formal dinners, he'd correct my fork choice with a patronizing smile. "Money can't buy breeding. But I suppose you'll pick it up eventually." Connor tried to shield me. But Victor was careful, never cruel, when his son was watching directly. The real venom came in private moments, reminders that I was tolerated, never welcomed, that I didn't belong in their world. He began inserting himself into our finances under the guise of fatherly advice, demanding to review statements, grilling me about student loans and credit. "I need to make sure you're not treating this marriage like a payday," he'd say, heavy hand on my shoulder, eyes like winter steel. I swallowed the humiliation for Connor's sake, believing we could build our own life away from the shadow of that mansion. Until that dinner party celebrating Victor's latest big corporate win. The house glittered with Seattle's elite, judges, politicians, CEOs. I chose a black cocktail dress Connor had bought me, hoping to disappear into the background. Victor had other plans. "Mia here works in finance," he announced loudly during the entree, false charm coating his tone. Of course, at her level they're still learning the difference between real money and whatever passes for it at smaller firms. Polite titters circled the table. Heat flooded my cheeks. I set my wine glass down carefully. We just wrapped due diligence on the Meridian acquisition. Your firm handled it last year. Actually. Interesting how the IP valuation discrepancies went unnoticed until our team flagged manipulated patent dates. Cost your clients millions. The room froze. Victor's face darkened. Temple vein pulsing. Everyone knew that case had been an embarrassing loss for him. You have no idea what you're talking about, he said quietly. Dangerously. The SEC filings are public, I replied evenly. Anyone can verify. Dinner ended in Arctic silence. Guests fled early. Eleanor refused to meet my eyes. Brooke actually looked up from her phone. Something unreadable flickering across her face. Connor squeezed my hand under the table. Pride and dread warring in his expression. When the last car pulled away, Victor exploded. You disrespectful little nobody, he snarled, palm slamming the table. Connor tried to intervene, but Victor turned on him too. The argument escalated until Victor's hand cracked across my face.
Now.
Driving away from the mansion. My swollen cheek throbbed. We're pressing charges, Connor said, knuckles white on the wheel. With what proof? I asked bitterly. He owns half the judges here. It'll be our word against his. But Victor had miscalculated. That slap wasn't just violence. It was the moment everything changed. 3 weeks later my bruise had faded. But the memory burned. We'd moved to a smaller apartment downtown. Cut all contact. I threw myself into work. Then my colleague Alex Chin pulled me aside at lunch.
Mia.
Your father-in-law, Victor Hargrove. We've been seeing odd patterns in some financial records. Shell companies. Offshore transfers. Client trust accounts that don't add up. His name keeps surfacing. My pulse spiked. What kind of patterns? The kind that interests the IRS. If someone looked deeper into Hargrove and Associates' client retainers. He shrugged meaningfully. Just be careful. Men like him fight dirty. That night I began digging through every public filing I could access. Discrepancies piled up. A web of LLCs designed to obscure money. When my phone rang with an unknown number, a whispered voice warned, I know what you're doing. Check your email. The message directed me to a downtown coffee shop the next afternoon. Brooke Hargrove waited in a corner booth. Designer sunglasses hiding red-rimmed eyes. She looked younger. Fragile. This is insane, she whispered. But I saw what he did to you. I recorded it. I've been recording a lot. She slid a flash drive across the table. He's planning to drain my grandmother's trust fund, $27 million. I found the documents. Emails. Transfers.
Bribes.
He's stolen from clients for years. Why tell me? Because you stood up to him. No one else does. Not even my mom before she died. Her voice cracked. He hits me too. Not often. Never where it shows. Started when I questioned the trust statements at 15. Rage surged through me. We weren't going to let him win. Brooke couldn't testify openly while still living under his roof as a minor. But she promised to stand up when the moment was right. That flash drive became our weapon. That night Connor and I pored over the files. Victor wasn't just classist, he was a predator. Systematic theft from client escrow accounts. Forged documents. Bribes to local officials. Plans to empty Brooke's trust using guardianship loopholes before she turned 21. Connor's face went pale. My father is a criminal. We needed strategy. Victor had too many connections to take down with a simple report. I reached out to Karen Ellis, a feared litigator known for dismantling powerful men. Her modest office downtown contrasted sharply with Victor's glass tower. This is dynamite, Karen said after reviewing everything. But he owns judges. We build parallel cases, federal financial crimes, and state family court for the trust. Public pressure will be key. We worked quietly. I traced every dollar using my forensic skills, corroborating the drive's contents with public records so nothing could be dismissed as inadmissible. Brooke sent encrypted updates, Victor growing paranoid. New locks on his office. Hiring investigators to watch us. A breakthrough came from Elena Vargas, Victor's former secretary fired years ago after questioning missing funds. Over coffee, she handed us copies of falsified billing records and shell company transfers. "This is RICO territory," Karen said excitedly. Brooke's messages grew urgent. More money moved from her trust. Victor drinking heavily, searching her room. The final warning chilled me. He knows something's coming. I heard him say, "Eliminate the problem." I think he means you. We accelerated. Victor's elaborate 18th birthday gala for Brooke was the perfect stage. Everyone who mattered would attend. Karen filed paperwork timed for after the event. I compiled a damning report. Brooke confirmed she had videos ready, including the slap and trust theft admissions. The night before, sleep evaded me. Connor held me close. Whatever happens, I'm proud of us. We're doing the right thing. I thought of Brooke trapped with a monster. Of Victor's victims. His empire would burn tomorrow. The Hargrove mansion blazed with lights. Valets parked luxury cars while Seattle's elite streamed inside. Ice sculptures. Champagne fountains. Live music. Connor and I arrived late in my emerald gown, the color of money. Envy.
And truth.
Security hesitated at our invitation, but Brooke had ensured we were on the list. The ballroom pulsed with power. Victor held court, booming laugh echoing. When he spotted us, surprise flashed to rage, then calculated calm.
Connor.
Unexpected. Wouldn't miss Brooke's birthday. Family matters. I circulated. Phone ready. At 9 sharp I hit send. The 50-page evidence package flooded every guest's email. Every journalist. The FBI.
IRS.
State Attorney General. Phones buzzed. Conversations died. Shock rippled outward. Victor noticed too late. Brooke took the stage in white. Every inch the perfect daughter. My father wanted tonight memorable. So, let's share some memories. The massive screen lit up. First video, Victor in his office. Voice clear. That trust fund? Emptied before the ungrateful brat turns 21. 27 million. I've earned it. Gasps filled the room. Victor roared for it to stop. Brooke continued. Next clip, him on a call bragging about buying Judge Morrison's loyalty. The judge backed toward the exit. Final video, the slap. My body hitting marble. Victor snarling about my place. Chaos erupted. Cameras flashed. Guests fled. Someone called 911. Victor charged the stage, but Connor blocked him. Brooke's voice cut through. You stole my inheritance. Hit me for asking questions. Told me I was worthless. Security, Victor's own, restrained him after seeing the evidence.
Mr.
Hargrove. You should leave. This is my house. Brooke spoke into the mic. Actually, per the trust documents, it's mine now. Get out. Eleanor, slurring slightly but resolute, announced, I want a divorce tonight. I'll testify about everything. News crews broadcast the collapse live. Sirens wailed as FBI agents arrived. Victor's empire crumbled in 30 minutes. The federal courthouse in downtown Seattle had never seen crowds like this. News vans lined the streets. Inside courtroom 302, I sat steady despite the tension. Victor appeared in orange. Diminished. Aged years and weeks. His new legal team looked nervous. Prosecutor Janet Rivera built an airtight case. My testimony spanned 2 days detailing every trace dollar. Today belonged to Brooke. She entered in a simple navy dress, looking older than 18. State your name. Brooke Marie Hargrove. Relationship to the defendant. My father. She described discovering the trust theft, offshore moves, fake losses, shell companies. Victor's lawyer objected repeatedly. The judge, unaffected by his influence, overruled each time. Brooke played recordings. Victor plotting, bragging, insulting her. Did he ever use physical intimidation?
Yes.
At 15, I questioned lower balances. He grabbed my arm hard, left bruises, warned me never to question him again. She presented photos and medical records. Why come forward now? I saw him attack Mia. I realized his violence was about control. Mia stood up without begging. She gave me courage. Cross-examination was fierce but futile. Brooke had dates. Originals still in the safe during the FBI search. She revealed other victims, plundered estates, children's funds. Pattern established. When Brooke stepped down, Victor's fate was sealed. He tried one last plea as she passed. Brooke, please. She ignored him. The verdict came months later. Guilty on all counts: embezzlement, fraud, racketeering, money laundering, breach of trust. 25 years federal prison. $37 million restitution. Permanent disbarment. Victor swayed. His lawyer mentioned appeal. The judge ordered immediate incarceration. Outside, media swarmed. Karen spoke powerfully. No one is above the law. The fallout was swift. Hargrove and associates dissolved. Partners distanced themselves. Several faced investigation. Assets auctioned for restitution. Offshore money returned to victims. Eleanor divorced quickly. Cooperated fully. Left with a clean start. Other victims came forward. Elderly couples. Orphans. Civil suits piled up. The media called it the Hargrove collapse. Reforms swept the local judiciary. New oversight. Resignations. Brooke's trust was restored with interest, now $35 million under court fiduciary, until 21. She began planning a foundation for abuse victims and scholarships. Therapy helped her heal. Some days raised voices still made her flinch. But strength remained. 2 years later, I sit in my own forensic accounting consultancy downtown, built on reputation and integrity. The view shows Seattle's steady pulse. Brooke walks in, now 20, studying law not for power but justice. Ready for lunch? Connor's meeting us. Our Friday tradition, chosen family stronger than blood. She mentions a letter from him. We burn it on the balcony. Watching manipulation turn to ash. Revenge became justice. Purpose. My firm recovers millions for victims. Connor's software company thrives free of shadows. Brooke funds legal aid. Eleanor found quiet redemption. Sometimes I drive past the old mansion, now owned by a tech family. Laughter replacing fear. Brooke once asked if I regret it. Never the fight, only that he existed to hurt people. Today marks 2 years since the party. We pause. Arms linked. Thank you for showing me I didn't have to be afraid. Thank you for being brave enough to stand up. Connor waves, face lighting up. We walk toward him, toward a future built from ashes. Freedom tastes better than any revenge. We transcended Victor Hargrove. He's inmate number whatever. Forgotten. That's justice. Beautiful.